All right, all right. We're live. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Rusty, my friend, good to see you. Craig and Peter down under. Good day to you. It looks like a good one down there. Excellent, excellent. Thanks, Rusty, as always, for getting everybody on the like button. What's up, Steve? Good to see you. Laura, welcome for the first time. Super excited. For those of you joining for the first time, we have tabs to go along with this lesson tonight. So expand the description below the video and you'll find a PDF file of some tabs that we're going to go through tonight. Tonight we're doing a little bit of a rhythm guitar style workshop. So we'll hit a few genres, mostly geared to the electric guitar, but of course can be transferred to the acoustic guitar more or less with varying degrees of aptness. I guess, for lack of saying it eloquently, but you can transfer these skills, these approaches, these examples to the acoustic guitar, okay? And work on it if you choose to. Jeff, what's up? Danny, he's got the new Gibson Les Paul Studio. Excellent. That's great news. Well, congrats on the new guitar. I hope it gets lots of love and lots of playing time. All right. Excellent. And Rusty's got the Les Paul Studio in Cherry Burst. There you go. So in good company. JD, what's up? Good to see you. Ron, what's up? Ray from hot NorCal. Well, there you go. We're coming from hot Middle Tennessee here. What's up, Matthew? Hello, welcome. Terry, what's going on? James from Syracuse. Mario, what's up? Peter has got a question here. I tend to avoid songs with non-standard tuning to avoid the hassle of retuning my guitar. Am I missing out on much? Is it worthwhile doing a session on non-standard tuning, or is it too advanced? We could certainly do that. I actually did do one on alternate tunings going back though. We've been doing these for a couple of years, but that one might be on the Guitar Tricks Facebook. You might have to dig and go way back for that one. It's possible it's on the YouTube channel, but maybe we'll dust it off and go through it. That's a good idea for an upcoming session. So the question is, are you missing out on much? And yeah, I mean, for certain things, it's pretty cool to kind of explore alternate tunings, particularly on the acoustic, although plenty of people do it on the electric. But on the acoustic guitar, there's lots of things. The acoustic guitar is one of those guitars where the more open strings you've got going on, the sort of the richer and bigger it sounds. So you can, when you do open tunings, you can accentuate that a little bit, and it's really nice to play those kind of things. So yeah, I would say you're missing out on a little bit, but it's certainly not going to be a huge hole in what you've been exposed to on the guitar. But yeah, I'll definitely kind of revisit that. Coming up in a upcoming lesson, maybe we'll do that. We'll revisit it. All right. Thanks for the suggestion. Igor, what's up? Russ, what's going on in Vegas? Arthur, what's going on? Scott, great to have you here. Great. And of course, Rad Flying V, good day. Great to see you again. Gerald from Evans, Georgia. All right. Welcome, welcome. John, what's going on? Missing out on Honky Tonk Women, Top by Mike. There we go on Guitar Tricks. I'm thinking, right? Excellent. Thanks for being here. Wayne, what's going on from Australia? Again, good day. All right. So thanks so much for joining, everybody. We're here at the same time every Friday to just go over some concepts, and we kind of alternate between electric one week and acoustic the next week. But a lot of the skills can be transferable. And the goal of this one, Rhythm Styles, is just to give you a cross-section of different genres and more of a rhythm guitar focus. What's up, Zane? Good to see you. So we usually started off with some sort of strumming exercise or musical example. And so I've got this one here that is a pretty cool strumming groove. I'm going to play through it and we'll talk about it a little bit. So this is exercise 1 in the handout. What's up, Erica? Good to see you. All right. Goes something like this. All right, so all downstrokes on this one. And you can see there's sort of these little greater than signs that are below the notes on the staff, kind of over top the tab notes. And what that means is accent, okay? Do an accent on the strum. So you can see actually that we're sort of strumming the whole chord, in this case a G chord, and digging in a little bit, and then following it up with some more downstrokes, but just sort of the lower part of the chord a little bit lighter. So a big strum and then two little strums on the lower part of the chord. We do another one of those, and then a third one, and then all we have time for if we subdivide it into eighth notes is we just have one more light strum on the lower part of the chord to get to the end of the measure, right? So you sort of hear that. Which is a really common rhythm, okay? Sort of the accents on the one, the and two, and the fourth beat, right? And two, one and two and three and four and, right? That's what we're going for there. Jason, what's up from Perth? Welcome, welcome. What's up, Jamie? G Walk Down is what I'm hearing. First live I've watched. Well, welcome, 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 welcome. The G walk down to E minor is what you're hearing, right? I could totally do that too. I like that. And Tien, what's up? From Vietnam, as always. Welcome, welcome. So we've got that strum. The whole idea behind it is that you've got that rhythm where you're accenting the first beat, the end of two, and the fourth beat. So what that gives you is sort of a texture. Instead of just like a straight strum, has a lot more of a dynamic texture. So and it makes it a lot more interesting, a lot more pleasing to listen to, right? So there you go. We've got the G chord, and then we're just going to move the lower notes of that G chord up a string set. So you've got the third fret of the A, second fret of the D, and you keep the higher strings the same. And that gives you a C chord with an added D note, which we call a C add 9. The 9 being the D chord, or the D note, sorry. It's a C chord, we're adding a D note to it. Really common move right here from a G. You might play the C this way. Very common and sounds really pleasing, right? So. Right? So we got that. And then we're going to go to E minor 7. So once again, those upper three strings are staying the same, and we're adding the second fret of the A and D and a low E string. Okay, you can do that with two fingers, one on each note. I like to grab it with my finger, pat of my finger on both strings. If you've got wily enough a pad on your index finger, I can grab both of those notes with just one finger. You don't have to do that. You can use two fingers to do it, right? Right? So same strums on that. And then down to the D chord. This is where it changes a little bit up top. Okay? So we've got the same accents, but that second accent, we're going to a D sus2, which means we're lifting our finger off the second fret of the high string and just adding the open E string to it. That gives us a sus2 or a suspended 2 chord, another very common move. And then the third accent back to second fret, and then back up to G. So in this case, we're in the key of G, right? And that would be our 1 chord, 4 chord, 6 minor chord, and the 5 chord for the D. So that would be a 1, 4, 6, 5 progression, right? In the key of G. Shallow, yes, something like that, right? Uses those chords for sure. Maybe in a little bit of a different order, but yes, got the right idea there. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so and as far as genre goes, I mean, I was thinking a little more sort of alt country Americana when I came up with this example, but obviously this is, you know, any kind of acoustic music, right? You know, country, pop, rock. It's all sort of applicable, that kind of approach. Carmine, what's going on, Carmine? Are those the chords in Wonderwall? Yeah, I think they are. In a different key, maybe. Yeah, I think that it's in a different order, and I think there's also an A chord in there, right? An A sus4, A7 sus4. Yeah, so if you substitute in, or if you just go from E minor 7 to that G chord, to the D, to the A7 sus4, that's sort of the main groove. And then I think in the pre-chorus, it goes to the C chord. Think. Unsure of the chord progression from that point on, but yeah, you're in the right ballpark with those chords for sure. All right, nice one, nice ear on that. Exercise 2, a little bit of a rock syncopated riff. Let me play it slowly, and we'll talk about it. Let me play it without any of the stuff in between, because we've got some rests going on. So let's just see. Okay. So the whole idea with this, it's a syncopated riff, meaning that we're hitting some chords in between the beats. And also we got a lot of rests going on, so we're going to have to mute the chords, cut them off. Okay. Using power chords in this case, starting with it's notated as C5 as you see it on the staff there. And whenever you see a letter and then the 5, a chord that's a 5 chord, that means power chord. That means root and fifth. So it's a neutral chord. It doesn't have a third in it. It's not major or minor because it doesn't have a third. It just has the root and fifth, which are just sort of a neutral sound, right? And this is a really common voicing of the power chord where you've got the root, in this case C, 3rd fret of the A string. The 5th is the G note, 5th fret of the D. And then often we add the higher octave of the root, which is another C note, 5th fret of the G string. Okay. You can grab it with 3 fingers. Sometimes you could also grab it with 2 fingers. Real easy. Okay. But you need to be careful if you do that, because what a tendency to have happen is that you might include the 5th fret of the B string, which makes it a major chord, right? Because we're adding the major third into it. Okay. So a lot of times when we're just going for power chords, you want to fret that so that the B string is still muted, right? If you're using one finger, whether it be the pinky or the ring finger. Or the other thing to do is just make sure that you're only strumming those 3 strings, okay? Now we've got an 8th note, so I'm going to cut it off pretty quickly, okay? Can't grab it with 1 finger. You can get it with 2, I hope. Right, Rusty? Great, Russ. It's what I try to do. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we've got this strum right on the top of the bar. Okay. Hey, what's up, Nikki the dog? Good to see you. I hope it was a vacation. Hope you had a great vacation if it was a vacation. HH, what's up from Ottawa? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. We're hitting the chord, and then it's a full rest. Okay. So that's going to be on the end of 1. We're going to start resting. That rest is going to continue on the 2nd beat. so that the next strum is on the and of 2, okay? And then you see that that's an 8th note, and then we're moving down 2 frets to the B flat power chord and strumming right after it. So it's, okay? Then we've got another full step rest, right? So that'll take us to the end of 4 for one more strum on the B flat, and that's that bar. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So we got right on, Jody 1. Excellent, excellent. Glad that's working out. GPX file. Okay, cool. For those of you who have Guitar Pro, which is a software that allows you to tab out stuff and transcribe and learn songs and that kind of thing, I've uploaded my tabs in that format as well, which is another link in the description below. All right, that's the first bar. Second bar, okay, 2 strums on the F power chord, same shape, right? First fret of the low string, 3rd fret of the A and D, and then you want to cut it off just for an 8th note, move it up to a G, another 8th note in between, and then 3 strums in a row. So that's, right? If I go a little bit slower, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, put it all together. Okay. Now, the critical thing with this is that we want to be able to mute cleanly, get those rests going. We don't want the chords to be ringing out in between in order to make this sort of a powerful riff, nice and clean, right? So what we have to do, one of the first things you'll want to try and work on is the karate chop of the strumming hand. Whoops. Coming right down onto the strings. Right after you strum, cut it off with just turning your hand a little bit and resting on the string. Okay. At the same time, what you could do is just lift your fingers off the frets, not necessarily off the strings, because we're going to play this chord again, right? So, okay. So you can see that there's kind of 2 ways to mute this. I can mute this with the strumming hand and not even lift this chord off. Okay, I did all the muting with this and I held the chords where they were going. What I also could do, since there's no open strings, okay, I can mute by just lifting my fingers off the frets, but not off the strings. Okay, if I lift my fingers completely off the strings, you can get that noise, right? So you want to still hold the strings and try and silence it. Okay, and that way I don't have to do any muting with this hand. So both of them are 2 different styles of muting, but both of them super effective. And a lot of times we use them in tandem, just depending on what the musical context is, just to make things extra clean, extra strong, right? So definitely something to work on. And obviously this is an example, a musical example where you can do that. You can work on this and try and get a little better at it, all right? So there you go, a little bit of a rock riff. Hope that was cool. All right. So now we've got R&B style riff. I'm going to play through it. We'll talk a little bit about it. It's still a rhythm part, but it's sort of got some ornamentation, a little bit of a lead ornamentation to it. But this would be a typical R&B type of rhythm part, because a lot of times in R&B and soul music, you're outlining chords and you're not doing a lot of strumming. It's a lot of just sort of little chord stabs and little notes and things popping out just to be part of the overall vibe of it. So I think this one goes like this. Okay. So first thing you see here is a little bit of a pickup bar where we're coming in. Okay. D string, 5th fret, hammering on to 7, and the same thing on the G string. Okay. Then we're going to land on the 5th fret of the D, G, and B string. So what is this exactly? Okay, so we've got some single notes landing on a chord. Well, when we land on the chord, that's the first beat of that second bar, which is actually sort of the first bar of the riff. That's where you're going to repeat to, okay? And what we've got here, just with the one finger, 5th fret of the D, G, and B, is a C major chord. This is a C major triad, okay? Got a G, C, and E, okay? So in this case, the root's sort of the middle note. So this would be a second inversion because the 5th, which is G, is the lowest note. So they call that a second inversion triad, okay? So what am I doing before then? A cool little hammer-on, simple little hammer-on figure. And if you're not good at hammer-ons, this is a great exercise just to try and get going on them. Okay, the idea being you want to pick the note and then hammer on your ring finger or even your pinky if you want to, okay, to the next note and have that ring out nice and clear. So it takes a little bit of dexterity and strength to be able to have that hammered on note ring out nice and clean. So even if you were just to do those first couple notes as an exercise over and over, this is a good thing to practice if you're new to this technique. Okay? Or the pinky. Generally, the pinky is a little bit weaker, so it might be a little tougher to get that. Okay? But in this case, it's kind of a quick little pickup, and then we hit the chord. Then we've got a double stop that we slide up to, okay? And this is the 9th fret of the G, 8th fret of the B string. Now this is a G and an E note again. We already had a G and E note in the chord here, so we're really just sliding up to 2 notes that are already in the C chord. So we're just using that C chord to bounce up the fretboard. You know, it makes it sound like we're, you know, kind of ascending a little bit, but we're actually on the same chord. Okay, this is a very typical thing to do to kind of play off a chord and get into a different position, maybe. Okay, you'll recognize the shape of that if you look at the 8th fret here and do a C major bar chord. On the G and B string, there are your 2 notes, the G and the E, right out of that chord. Okay, so just a really simple move. I mean, look at that bar. Basically, all that's happening is you're playing a chord and then sliding a double stop up to create a little bit of movement and a little bit of interest in your part and playing the same chord basically, but just sort of ornamentating a little bit. Really cool. Then we've got this slide up to 10 to 12. Okay, and this is a common move. I'm sliding from 10 to 12, so this is another expressive technique where one finger, pick the note, and then slide quickly. Slide up to the 12th fret, slide up 2 frets. Like that. Okay, you want to make that, again, there's a little bit of dexterity involved. You want that note to ring out nice and clean. Now I've got the 10th fret of the D, G, and B string. So we already know this is a major triad shape. And I've moved it from the 5th fret to the 10th fret. So up 5 frets, we're going to go up to a 4th away, which would be an F. So this is an F major chord right here, F major triad. And then I'm adding the 11th fret onto the B string on the 2nd strum. It's just making it a sus4, okay? Suspended 4 chord means you're replacing the 3rd, which is at the B string, and going up to the 4 in relation to the root. And that gives a floaty sound. This is once again, a really common move. Okay. And then we would just repeat that hammer-on lick again. So, I mean, the chord progression right here goes 1, 2, 3, 4 on C, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on F. That's our progression, right? Well, in R&B, we're just making it a little more interesting, right? Okay. That's the idea with that. All right. Laura, all I want to do is play the rhythm guitar part and doing it to death. Fred Wesley and the JBs. Wow, I've never heard that song. I need to check that out. That is cool. Anyone else heard that song? I've never heard of that song before. I need to check it out. I will do that. All right. Maybe we'll bring it in. I'll have to check it out. Maybe we'll work it into an upcoming. Oh, there you go. James Brown. Doing it to death. Okay, well, guess what? I will work that into an upcoming. I will do it to an upcoming session. I actually maybe I know it. I don't know. I don't recognize the title. We'll put it that way. So yeah, I'll have to have a look at that. Maybe we'll put it in next couple of weeks. I like it. Russ, when figuring out a chord progression, do you use the open bar chord shapes within a key and figure out the nuances? 7th, 9th sus afterwards. Yes, generally that's a good way to go about it. Okay. Use open chords, bar chords, even just a root note. If you can kind of figure out the bass, what the bass is doing, and then just try, try all the different chords with that bass note. And process of elimination, that's always a great way to try and figure it out. Absolutely. All those color notes can come later. Okay. And the key to being able to pick up these things fast is just, trying to learn lots and lots and lots of songs, and not just learn them, but learn the theory behind the songs, right? Like figure out what those chords are that you're learning so that you can hear what those chords sound like. Once you start getting used to the sound of certain chords, then you can pick them out a lot easier. Okay. So that's sort of the idea of what we want to keep working towards. Okay. I like it. We're going to have a funky good time. I know, what was it? That's probably up here. There's a James Brown riff, right? I think we've done that in the past here on the rhythm styles. Cool. All right, so there you go. Speaking of funky strums, oh, doing it to death. Is it? So it's actually that. Is that the key? I think that's it. And then it's all right, so the rhythm for that, since we're getting into the funky strum, which is a little bit different, what's in the tab is a little bit different, but if we're talking about James Brown, you need to learn the 9th chord, okay? So E9 is the 7th fret of the A, 6th fret of the D, and then bar down at the 7th fret of the top 3 strings. There's your funk chord right there. And so you're basically just strumming against that chord. You might want to come in from 1 fret below and slide into it. And then with that 9th chord, what you can do is stretch that pinky and add 2 frets up on the high string. And that's a really common. Okay. And I think that B section is, you're just moving up to, let's say, an A9. And again, with the pinky, top 2, 2nd fret up on the high string. Okay, that's, and then just a chromatic from 2 frets down. Okay. Anyway, there you go. I won't go into too much more detail than that, but that's cool. All right, now I get what you were saying with the song. All right, so the one that we have in the tab is actually on an A7. Okay, I've just got an A7 bar chord, 5th position, barring down at the 5th fret, adding the 7th fret of the A, 6th fret of the G, okay? And what I've got is I've got a bar with the muted strums in between. All right, so we've got a down up, and the way to get a muted strum there is to have, once again, the fingers positioned over the frets you want, holding the strings so that it doesn't ring out like this. You want to have that sort of chick sound, right? And then just press it on the frets quickly to get that sort of chord stab sound. Now, the tricky one with this is that we're going to be doing a down up and then strumming the chord, but then keeping our strumming going, we're going to have an up down and then have to press the chord down on an upstroke. Then it's another down up, and then the chord comes on a down stroke. And then it's one more up down, and then the chord comes on an upstroke, and you let it ring out. So if I go real slow, okay? So that's all well and good. That gets us, gives it a funkier sound because you have that percussive muted sound in there. Okay. What's up, Chad? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Now, as an alternative, I've got the next bar playing it with no strums, no muted strums. So it would just be. Okay, and a really good thing to do is to keep this motion going as if you were going to scratch the strings with it, but don't do it and just come in for the actual strum you want the chord to sound on, right? So. Okay, that's going to keep you in time a lot easier is if you keep this motion going. Gotcha? You with me on it? All right, so 2 for the price of 1 for the funk section. Thank you, Laura, for that. Excellent. Okay, so we've got coming into exercise 5. What's up, John? Good to see you. What's up, Jim Gregory? Good to see you. And you guys, I love it. You guys are showing up halfway through the live thing and still committed to getting on live. I love it. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. If I didn't make it at the top of it, I'd just be like, oh, I'll catch it tomorrow, right? Catch it on replay. I love it. Well, good to see you guys. We're on exercise 5. For those of you just joining, expand the description. There are tabs. You can download the tabs and follow along. We're on exercise 5, about bottom of the first page. So we've got a blues riff. I'm going to play through this a little bit. I'm going to play the 12-bar blues version of this and sort of talk about how I notated it and what the idea is after I play through it and hopefully get through it here. So let's give it a shot, shall we? All right. All right. So a little bit of a bluesy, sparse kind of riff. A little bit. There's lots of space in this. Again, we got lots of rhythm going on. I was sort of just tapping the strings a little bit. Just if you can kind of imagine that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Because remember, we've got that notation at the top of the staff there that's telling you it's a triplet groove, a triplet eighth groove, eighth note triplet groove. So that means the and is getting pushed closer to the next downstroke. So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like straight time, it's much bouncier. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Right? Oh, whoops. Missed that one. All right, so let's break it down a little bit. So we've got, we're coming into just basically playing off an A7 chord, right? So sliding into the 6th fret of the G, grabbing the 5th fret of the top 2 strings. Okay? And then cutting it off. And then we've got this little lick. Okay, so I'm grabbing the A note, 7th fret of the D string, and then barring down to the 7th fret of the D and G. Adding that onto the A note. Now I've got my index finger on the 5th fret of the D, G, and B, and I strum and then I hammer on to the 6th fret of the G string, which outlines the A7 chord, the A dominant 7th chord, right? We just play that anytime there is an A7 chord, right? That's the 1 chord in the 12-bar blues. Now we've got a similar thing. When it moves to the 4 chord, we're moving to some sort of a D chord. In this case, we're moving to D9. So not only is the funk chord, the dominant 9th chord, which we just saw in the previous example, great for funk, but it's great for blues too. Very bluesy sounding. And in this case, I'm sliding in with 2 notes, sliding into the 4th fret of the D, 5th fret of the G. So I'm not really playing the root on this one. Okay, sliding in. And then again with the 5th fret of the top 2 strings. And then I'm going to hit that 4 and 5 on the D and G and quickly slide up from the 5th fret of the top 3 strings to the 7th fret and land there. And then bring that shape back 2 frets for a couple of strums. Okay, so a little bit different, a little bit of a different sound, but kind of the same idea, right? But we're just playing off of D9. So you play that chunk, 5B, anytime you're on the 4 chord or the D9 chord, right? And then on the next page, I've tabbed out the last 4 bars of the 12-bar blues, which is the turnaround. Okay, so that starts with the 5 chord. We're just doing the first bar of what would be that full phrase that we did on the 4 chord. We're just doing 1 bar of that. And then we'll do the same thing on the D chord, D9, 2 frets down in the next bar. Right? Ending off on A7 with that riff. And all we're doing is hitting that E chord at the end. It always goes to the 5 chord. Well, it usually goes to the 5 chord at the end of the 12-bar blues, right? At the end of that 12-bar form, we'll somehow get back to the 5 chord usually. So we're just hitting it with a single note, the E, 7th fret of the A string with some vibrato, right? So, right? So I think that's a pretty cool blues. It sort of stays out of the way. It's got some space to it, but equally as interesting and great riffs, I think, to practice, right? So you practice some sliding, practice some dominant 7th and 9th chord shapes. A little bit of single note stuff in there. Right? You with me? All right. Time to get some palm muting going. All right. Let's see. Am I a bad person? Chad's asking if he's a bad person for being inspired to play your bass when hearing the shuffle blues, not feeling the guitar right now, and I feel bad for it. Not at all. Any music no matter how you're inspired, no matter what instrument it is, it's always a good thing, right? So I'm just happy you're inspired at all after hearing that. So right on, man. Go for it. What's up, Jay? Great to see you. And I appreciate the kind words. Thanks so much. That's awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you're tuning in regularly. Good to see you here. Okay. Palm muted. Rock. Let's play this and then we'll break it down a little bit. So we're going to work on some palm muting. So it goes like this. All right. That's our riff for tonight. Sounds maybe a little bit familiar to those of you into classic Southern rock, maybe a little bit. What's up, Charlie? What's going on? First time. By the way, anybody joining for the first time, expand the description. We've got tabs. There's link to tabs there, okay? All right, Nikki the dog, you got it. Yeah, 38 Special-esque right there. I don't think it's exactly the riff, but it's close, right? But the big thing on this one, yes, you got it, Rusty. The big thing with this one is palm muting and letting the palm muting up and down, right? So we've got a full strum on an E power chord. 7th fret of the A, 9th fret of the D and G. And then we're just going to, Charlie can't find the tabs. Expand the description below the video. And it should say, get the tabs for this lesson here, and then there's a link to a PDF document that should open up in your browser, hopefully, okay? But you have to expand the description below the video. I think there's like a little more button or something, and then it'll open up a bunch of stuff, all right? Hopefully that works for you. Let me know if it goes. Not showing. Interesting. Anybody else not showing? Was everybody else able to get the PDF tonight? I know some of you got it. App or browser? Oh, good point. If you're in an app, if you're on an iPhone, you probably won't be able to get to it. You might need a desktop computer to be able to do it because I'm sharing over Google Documents. So I don't know where. Actually, I should check that out. Does anyone know where, if you can, get to the link on an iPhone or something or an iPad? I don't know if that works, for example. Yeah, good one. Sounds like a 38 Specialist. I like that. We're on exercise 6. Exercise 6 is the one, okay, for those of you that have it. For those of you that are on iPad or iPhone and can't get to the PDF right now, I apologize for that. We'll figure that out. Oh, Matthew got it on his iPad, so there's some way to get it. Got to figure out a way to expand the description below the video, and there is a link to it. All right, so palm muting, right? Again with the karate chopper on the picking hands, okay? Now what we're going to do is just lightly, okay? Lightly rest your karate chop close to the saddles of the bridge of your guitar. Okay, you don't want to put pressure on it because it kind of chokes the notes out. Okay, and you'll find, experiment with the pressure a little bit because you'll find a little goes a long way. Okay, just. All right, Charlie got it. Thanks for your help, everybody. Excellent. Okay. Okay, so what's happening is that you want to have these 8th note downstrokes just on the E note in between. And then you open up for a full strum one more time on the E power chord. And then we make this move where we come down a fret to the 6th fret on the A. We've still got the 9th fret of the D string, but then the 8th fret of the G string. Okay, which sort of infers this B chord. It's like sort of an inverted B chord, but you're not playing all the notes from a B chord. It's still sort of like a 2-note chord, but it's not really a root 5 power chord at this point. Okay, so that's a really common chord move. Okay. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So everything from the and of 1 up to the 4th beat is palm muted just on the root note. Second bar is all palm muted, 6th fret of the A. And then it's going to be the same rhythm as the first, but down 2 frets. And then on the and of 3, you've got a B power chord, 2nd fret of the A, 4th fret of the D and G, going to an open A power chord, right? Same shape, just down 2 frets, down to an open E power chord there, right? And then it's back up again. Actually, the way this song actually goes is you come back up after, and then you're actually hitting that chord on the and of 4 and then continuing the palm muted groove after that. Okay. Jason, what's up? Are you barring the power chord with your pinky to make it easier to go to the B/D? Let's see. I am, in fact, doing that. Yeah. That's easier for me. And the other thing is that when I first learned to play guitar and I learned to play power chords, I learned them with the pinky. And so old habits die hard. I usually default to hitting power chords with the pinky unless there's going to be like something like that, or where you need your pinky doing something, right? So, oh man, we're getting infiltrated. You got a comment bomb. I apologize. It's never happened before. How do you turn that off? Can I ban this person? Let's see. There we go. That works. Seems to have worked on my end. Hopefully that should be the end of that. I don't know. I just hit the eject button. All right. All right, Douglas, thank you for that. There we go. All right. Yes, so Jason, back to your question. Yes, I just happened to play that with the pinky, but it does make it easy to get that chord. Okay? Should be a fun one. All right, look at that. We can block individually with the little ellipses next to the bomb. All right, there we go, Roderick. Good one. Cool. Thank you, Jason, for the clarification on that. Okay, exercise 7. There's a little more to this one. Somebody pull out the 38 special. We did. That's what we're doing in exercise 7, okay? I believe I did report them, actually, I think I hit report. Let me just see. There we go. Report, done. There we go. Yes, a little bit of Black Crowes, right? I guess I didn't play that very well. Let's try it again. One more time. All right, that's what we're going for with this one, playing off a G chord with G major pentatonic. So we want to do some bending on the G string 2nd fret. And this is kind of tough a little bit. Yeah, and by the way, yeah, Black Crowes are known for open tunings, and we'll get to the open tunings session maybe in a couple of weeks or something. We had a good request for that. So I know that at least one of the guitars in this song is in open G. But it's possible that this was just standard tuning. The lead guitar was sort of playing this sort of riff a little bit. So even right there, that's a cool little sort of off a G chord. If you grab the D note, 3rd fret of the B string, and then you've got your index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. Now I use my thumb up top to help with that bend up because you don't really have any fingers helping it. You could put the pinky there and use the ring finger and do it that way. If you got the strength in the index finger, you could do it as well. So you're playing both the G and B string, but only bending up a full step on the G string. Up and down. And then to the open G, 3rd fret of the B string. And then you're getting the 2nd fret of the D back to sort of the open part of that chord. And this is all based out of G major pentatonic in the open position, which is the same as E minor pentatonic. But what I should have done is started from G. So, right? That'll give you the sound of right? That's the sound of the major pentatonic scale going up. My girl, right? So, going a little bit slower. And then just going up to that C triad again, right? Just one finger and a few strums sliding in, and then second bar. You see those rests in between. I'm doing the 2nd fret of the G bend with the 3rd fret of the B string, twice, and then 3rd time up and down, back to the C chord. Repeating the first bar again, and then sort of repeating the first bar, but adding a little bit at the end. So a little bit slower. So 2 strums on that open G, 3rd fret of the B. Then we're going to grab 2nd fret of the D string with the open G string, and then the open D, open G string. Pull off 1st fret to the open A string, and then down to the G note, right? A little bit of Southern rock, straight up Stonesy rock, right? I don't, maybe it's not Southern rock, right? Don't really think of the Black Crowes as a Southern rock band. It's sort of a country-ish kind of thing, though, right? You could think of it as a country-ish kind of thing, but also very Stonesy, right? There we go. Cool. Yes. All right. Final exercise. I love my jazz, right? Jazz swing. This is a song called Summertime. This is sort of the first half of it. And it's got some interesting chord shapes in it. So we're doing these quarter note strums here. And once again, it's a swing jazz. So instead of straight, where it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So what are the chords here? So we've got an A note, 5th fret of the low string, and then I'm skipping the A string. I've got the 4th fret of the D, 5th fret of the G string. Now these are just a simplified chord voicing for an A minor 6, okay? So we have the minor 3rd, the root, we don't have the 5th, but we've got the 6th, okay? So this one's actually just a 6 because there's no 7th in the chord, okay? Yeah, so root, 6, minor 3rd. Okay? The next chord is deceptive. I'm gonna strum that twice, but then move up 2 frets. It's the same shape, but it's notated differently. It's actually an E7/B. So I could actually move that root note from B, which would be the 5th of an E7. I could move it up and play the root, 7th fret of the A string. Same shape here on the D and G. Okay, there you go. Oh yeah, hard to handle. That's right. Different one. Cool. Okay, so you could do that, but in this case, we've got the 5th in the bass, and we've still got the major 3rd and the minor 7th to make that E dominant 7th sound. Okay, so the first 3 bars are the same. We just and then the 4th bar just stays on A minor 6. Okay, then we're going to move to D minor. 5th position, 5th fret of the 5th string, barring down on all the strings, adding the 7th fret of the D and G, 6th fret of the B. We're going to stay on that for a bar and then 2 beats into the next bar. Now I should be saying that I'm using that muting technique where I'm strum and then lift the fingers off the frets but not off the strings, right? So I'm getting a little bit of a quick staccato sort of chord stab out of it. Okay. 2 more strums in that second bar on the last line of the page. Then I'm going to do a tricky move here. E flat diminished 7th. So that's going to be the 6th fret of the A. But now I'm still barring down on the 5th fret, but I have to move some fingers here to get the 7th fret of the D and the 7th fret of the B string. And I've still got the bar, so the G string's the 5th fret and the high string's the 5th fret. A rather tense chord, but a classic move here. D minor. Okay. Then E7. This time going to the actual voicing. Oh, right on, Rusty. Better late than never, right? So here, 7th fret of the A, 6th fret of the D, 7th fret of the G. There's that E7 voicing I was talking about. Then we go to B7. 7th fret of the low string, 7th fret of the D, 8th fret, of the G. So again, that's just root, flat 7, major 3rd. Okay. So kind of some cool sort of more compact chord shapes for this one. I'm going to play from the top. Here we go. Let's see what it sounds like. 2, 3, 4. There you have it. Tonight's jazz for you. Hope you found some cool stuff. We got somebody inspired to play bass on the blues. That's great. All the better for those of you who are inspired to something to practice this week, something to work on. Once again, these are musical examples meant for you to get inspired, get excited about something, experiment with it, try it with lots of different stuff. Okay. Cool. Thanks so much for tuning in. What do we got? Some questions. Chad, any new builds happening or planned? Indeed, yes. In the middle, I honestly don't know what I'm doing, but I have this other body here that you can see is not painted very well. I tried a spray can of nitro. It didn't go well. So plan B on the painting on this one. This is going to be a P90 guitar with a trem on it. So I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know when I'm going to be able to continue on with that, but hopefully soon. That's my next build, right? I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for asking, Chad. That's awesome. It's wood. Time to sand and keep going. That's it. Yeah, just keep going. I'm never deterred because I don't know what I'm doing. Everything's just an experiment, right? Cool. Roderick says Captain Dissonance. Yeah, absolutely. That one was a little bit dissonant sounding indeed. Did I source this myself, or is that some other track? Yeah, I sort of found it online a little bit. Got the idea to kind of use those chords on it, at least the first half of that song. So there you go. All right. Arthur, thank you. Russ, thanks, Danny. Excellent. Laura, excellent, excellent. I'm glad it was fun. Arthur, cool. Rusty, appreciate you. Thanks so much, as always, being so active on here. I appreciate it each and every week. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jim Gregory. Thank you, Jay. Thanks, Mario. You like the R&B one, felt like Hendrix. Well, that's awesome. Cool. Love it. It is very Hendrixy indeed. Steve, thank you. Jody 1, thank you. Zane, thank you. John, of course. Thank you, sir. All right, Chad's got the guitar in hand. All right, next time we'll do it. James, thank you. Erica, thank you. Rad Flying V, thank you. Roderick, thank you. Put some Duncans. I've got some Mojo Tone quiet coil P90s ready to go in that one. So we'll see how those do. Maybe some Duncans if it doesn't work out. We'll see. Right on, Rusty. Douglas. A lot of jazz and blues and lots of blues and jazz. Absolutely. They are definitely sister genres. Gerald, thank you. I'm glad you found it inspiring. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight. Or if you're down under this morning. All right. Well, hope everybody has a great weekend. Have a great next week. We'll be back with the acoustic next week. I think it's just a acoustic workout. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Cheers, everybody. Thank you. Cheers. See ya.